Granblue Fantasy Relink is an action RPG developed by Cygames that released on PC and PlayStation at the beginning of February this year. I just finished the main story of the game in a little under 15 hours, and I wanted to make a video to talk about my first impressions of the game. Hello everybody, Rusted Ground here. Let's dive into Granblue Fantasy Relink.
What?
Skyrealm is a world where islands of all shapes and sizes float in a sea of clouds. It is a world forsaken by the gods. Once upon a time, people known as the Astrals attempted to seize control of this world with their overwhelming might, but the citizens of the skies repelled the invaders, thus ushering in a new era of peace. The story of Granblue Fantasy Relink takes place in the western part of this world known as the Zega Grande Skydom. Here, we meet our main protagonist, known to everyone as the Captain. The Captain is the leader of a small group of Skyfarers looking for the island of Esta Lucia. The Captain shares a life force link with the other main protagonist of this story, a blue-haired girl named Lyria. Lyria has the power to commune with primal beasts, which are essentially gods of this world, and she can summon them to aid in battle. From the start, you also get to meet the Captain's crew, each a playable character in your roster. We have Reckham, the ship's helmsman, Catalina, a former knight of the Erste Empire and currently the sworn protector of Lyria, Io, a young talented mage, Rosetta, a mysterious and very knowledgeable woman, and Eugen, the oldest member of the crew, former mercenary for hire, now veteran Skyfarer. During a random encounter with some wyverns, Lyria summons Bahamut to aid in battle, but for some unknown reason loses control of the primal, which turns against the crew and severely damages the airship, crashing it into the jungles of a nearby island. What has caused the primal to turn against Lyria? Well, that's a mystery that you need to uncover over the course of the main story. In that regard, the story for me wasn't incredibly exciting. Yes, there are a few twists and turns along the way, and overall I consider the story to be okay, but that is not what kept me playing this game. Also, as a newcomer to the world of Granblue Fantasy, I think the game does a poor job at introducing the characters. See, this is not the first story in the universe. There are several other games as well as an anime adaptation that dates back to 2017. This was all new to me when I jumped into Relink, and I wish the game would have done a better job at introducing the main cast. As you progress through the game, there are these fate quests that give you a bit of a backstory into each character, but it doesn't feel as organic to go looking for these stories through the menus of the game. But enough about the story aspect. To summarize this part, the story takes about 10 to 15 hours to go through. It has your usual anime tropes, some interesting characters, a few surprises, and a lot of action. As I said, the story wasn't the main reason I wanted to play this game. No, the main reason I wanted to play this game was because of the various characters you get to discover and play as. See, your main party consists of 4 characters and you can control one of them at a time. But in essence, Granblue Fantasy Relink is a character collector, and there are currently 12 extra characters that you can unlock apart from the ones that I talked about at the beginning of the video. All these characters have different playstyles, and the developer has already announced 2 more characters being made available in the next 2 months. Another aspect of the game that intrigued me was the fact that the main story is just the introduction to the game. The real gameplay starts after you finish the main story, because that's when you truly begin to unlock the new characters and build them up. So how does that work? Well, there are a total of 12 story chapters, and as you progress through them, there are various systems that unlock for you. The crafting system, the trading, and even the online co-op system. Yes, this game has online co-op if you want to jump in with friends or random people to take on boss battles or various quests. You can do this while playing through the main story, but the game really opens up once you're done with that. Your character's abilities and talent trees open up, you can craft better weapons, find better upgrades, and also take on increasingly difficult challenges. From what I can tell, the structure of the endgame is very similar to the one in Monster Hunter World, where you go on various types of quests, from exploration quests to epic boss battles, the goal being to upgrade your character as much as possible and defeat the hardest encounters.
Now they look like a fun bunch to tangle with.
Do not deviate from the mission. We are simply here for a meet and greet.
And you are?
We've been waiting for you, Shaman of Salvation. Now, would you be so kind as to...
Like I said previously, each playable character has its own playstyle, and while they might look similar from afar, they are actually quite different when you get to play with them. I played most of the game with Rackham, for example. He is a mid-range gunslinger that has a heat gauge that allows him to do more damage as long as the heat gauge is maxed out. Catalina, on the other hand, is mostly a melee character that uses the power of Ares, an astral primal, to either dish out more damage or protect the team. There are characters that can fulfill the classic RPG roles such as tank, DPS or healer, but no one character is locked into one of these roles. Now, to wrap up this video, my first impressions are as follows. Granblue Fantasy Relink is not necessarily a game that you play for the story. In that regard, I would argue that the story is very short for the price of the game. Having said that, there are a lot of things to do once you reach endgame. I really like the art design, the gameplay mechanics, and the variety in characters. This is a game that makes me want to continue playing it even if it starts getting grindy, because I really want to see the toughest encounters and build the best team possible to defeat said encounters. I also like that it has a co-op mechanic, and this, coupled with the fact that the developers have already announced more content for the game, keep me wanting more. So I will continue playing the game. My plan is to max out Rackham for now and unlock all the other companions and explore more of what the game has to offer. I think that if you're a fan of the anime-style games and enjoy flashy combat and gameplay diversity, Granblue Fantasy Relink will scratch that itch. The game is currently €60 or dollars depending on where you are in the world, and it is available on both PC and PlayStation. But that's it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for sticking around until the end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.